Hello and welcome to part 2 of the third day of our 14-day road trip across America's amusement parks. In this episode, it's our first time visiting Waldameer. For the after 5 PM ticket, with the park closing at 8 PM, is 3 hours enough to get a real sense of the experience on offer and importantly tick off the creds on your coaster bingo card. We'll also visit a classic American diner, partly just so we could drive on the road underneath Ravine Flyer II, but the food was pretty good actually. And later in the episode we'll travel to the night's lodgings, which is the Cedar Point Express Hotel, where the staff have forgot to save a room for us. There's wacky shacks, wonky flats, classic thrills, and we answer the question, why did the roller coaster cross the road? To hand us our asses, that's why. Hey, this is Stu for Out and Back Travel. I make videos like this one in the hopes it can inspire your own theme park adventures. If you enjoy the video or you find it helpful in some way, please help me out on YouTube by smashing that like button. Thank you, I really appreciate it. You join us on a Sunday afternoon in June. We've spent the morning at Six Flags Darien Lake and taken the 2-hour drive along Lake Erie to Waldameer, arriving around 4:30 PM. Ignoring the turn into the Waldameer car park, we drove past the entrance and down the road underneath the Ravine Flyer II roller coaster. It had to be done, but also we're visiting Sara's restaurant. This is your classic American diner serving great burgers and shakes. There's lots of those diner props which make for great photo ops. And as a little bonus, you can watch Ravine Flyer II making its bridge crossing. Driving underneath Ravine Flyer II felt so iconic, especially as the train came over. It's pretty exciting, I guess it is a distraction for drivers. The first Ravine Flyer opened in 1922, and a couple of years later the city of Erie wanted to put a new road in, so it was built underneath the roller coaster, as you do. Sadly, Ravine Flyer 1 closed in 1938, and 70 years later in 2008 we finally got the sequel of Ravine Flyer 2, and the park still had the permission to cross the road as they donated the land for the road in the first place, giving this coaster a really unique placement. Let's talk about our ticket options, and there was a good reason we were stalling for time while having some delicious food at Sara's Diner. Waldameer offers a reduced after 5 PM admission ticket. There's all kinds of admission options here, you really are sport for choice. You can buy combination tickets for both the rides park and the water park. You can also buy just the water park or just the rides park separately. And you can pay per ride, with rides costing between $2 and $5.50, and that way admission is free. We went for the after 5 PM rides only wristband, which was $28. The park closed at 8 PM and the staff did warn us if the drizzly rain got any worse the park may close, so there was a little pressure to get that bingo card covered. So let's talk about the coaster bingo then. There's 5 credits here to get at Waldameer as of filming during summer 2024. Ravine Flyer II is of course the star of the show, the Gravity Group terrain wooden coaster. They've also got Comet, a classic family wooden coaster from 1951. Ravine Flyer 3 is a miler kiddie coaster. Steel Dragon is your standard Mara spinning coaster. And Whirlwind is one of those SBF Visa spinning kiddie coasters. Despite there being hundreds of these across the world, I've never actually ridden one, so will today be my first. Our plan of attack is to get the Woodies done first, enjoy some of the unique rides like the Wacky Shack, the Alibaba and the classic Spider Ride, and then if there's time, do the rest of the creds. Let's see how we do with that 3-hour time limit and the inclement weather rolling in. Time and Mother Nature are ticking down against us. So our first stop was for Ravine Flyer II, of course the undisputed star of the show. They were only using one train, so even though it was only a station wait, it took quite a while. This was made longer as we decided to wait the extra few trains for the front car, only for the park to close it off, so then we had to go and find another row to wait in, so a few more extra turns, but we did finally get on. Cresting the lift hill with that view over Lake Erie before the twisting drop, it's just iconic. This coaster is so legendary. I've been waiting for years to get on this. Dropping down the ravine and through the tunnel and over the road bridge crossing, it's just legendary. I really didn't expect how aggressive Ravine Flyer II would be. It's super intense, using the terrain well with hidden dips and tunnels to keep you guessing. The ride was flying, as the name suggests. It truly is a wild wooden coaster. A special shout out to I Dig Coasters for sharing these incredible POVs with fellow YouTube creators. We did a couple of laps to make sure, but Ravine Flyer II shocked me. I wasn't prepared or expecting a ride this intense. It really handed us our asses in the best possible way. It's a true standout coaster. Next up, we did something a little calmer. Comet is the park's family wooden coaster, with buzz bar trains allowing super old-timey airtime. It's got a cool little layout amongst some tall trees, a lovely charming classic ride. Pausing the roller coaster bingo, we had to do a couple of laps on the park's dark ride, Wacky Shack. It's completely your classic laugh in the dark style ride. Great to see. And next up, the partner that I have access to did the spider ride. I can't cope with spinning rides, but they said it was one of the best examples of the type, so sad that the park's announcers are now removing this ride. Back to the coaster bingo then. Steel Dragon is a standard layout Mara spinning coaster. Think laugh track at Hershey Park or the main part of Crush's coaster at Disneyland Paris, but outside. This one though wasn't really a spinner, even with an unbalanced car. We were successful in getting permission to go on the kiddie cred. Ravine Flyer III is a fun little children's coaster over the water. Ali Baba is the ARM version of a rainbow. This is a rare treat for us Europeans. Sadly, it looks more interesting than it rides, and you don't quite get the yanking off you get on the classic German rainbows. Pirates Cove is a dark walkthrough attraction with some funhousey gags and some dark piratey scenes. It's interesting, I guess. Whirlwind completes the coaster bingo card, 5 for 5. And this is my first time on an SPF Visa spinning coaster. I would love to try the hamster wheel version. Have to mention that the log flume looked great. Sadly, it was a no-go at 7 PM in the evening with an upcoming 2-hour plus drive, but it looked fab and I would love to have tried it if we'd have been here maybe a little earlier or the weather was a bit warmer. We were able to get in plenty of re-rides. I managed just one more go on Ravine Flyer II, so I had about 4 laps in total before my brain started crying. It's super intense, but I really respect what it's doing. I'm just getting old now, guys. I can't cope with the intense rides. I know you kids all love Ride to Happiness, but it really kills this old man off. Waldameer was a charming park. The nostalgic feeling really came through. We were done in just a couple of hours, so the after 5 PM wristband deal really worked for us. Maybe we were lucky with crowds due to the drizzly rain, but we managed to get quite a few re-rides in, so we really got the value out of that unlimited wristband. I personally recommend the wristband over paying per ride. It just gives you the freedom to re-ride and you're not thinking about putting your hand in your wallet each time you go for a ride. All in all, a fantastic park, one I need to return to. Maybe a chilled out full day with the water park could be a nice relaxing stop. One of these days, when I eventually get around to a laid back road trip, which you know is never happening, as I'm always defaulting to cramming the itinerary full of as many things as possible. After leaving Waldameer, we'd make the 2.5-hour drive just under the 160 mile mark to Sandusky to stay the night at Cedar Point's Express Hotel. We did stop by Sandusky's Walmart for supplies along the way. Love a Walmart stop. We arrived at Cedar Point's Express Hotel around 10 PM and they didn't have our rooms available. So we had a frustrating 50-minute wait for this to be resolved, standing for the best part of an hour after a day of 2 theme parks and a lot of driving. Wasn't ideal at all. It wasn't a great welcome, especially as this was supposed to be the first nice hotel of the trip. If you've seen our previous motel experiences, this was going to be a little bit posher. It wasn't really the best welcome, and things like how the early entry worked weren't explained at all. We'd be staying here for the next 2 nights. We had travelled the night before, so we were ready for the early ride time on our first day at Cedar Point. So coming up next time, we visit Cedar Point with the biggest spite of the trip looming over us. Luckily, Cedar Point isn't short on amazing roller coasters, so we have a fantastic time anyway. I'll also go over how we're going to save money at our upcoming Cedar Fair Park visits through buying a gold season pass with some selected season pass add-ons to really make that value for money work. As always, if you have any road trip planning questions of your own, please leave them in the comments below, and until next time, stay safe on the way out and back.